Hello you beautiful people, welcome back to another Hiker Plays video. Today we are going to be talking about characters, and specifically where characters sit within this, I guess, makeshift tier list. This is not a tier list, by the way, it's on Tier List Maker, but it very much is just an informational guide on where you should play each of these characters. Now, I have made a community post, most of you would have seen that, but if you haven't seen that, I do have a finished article there, but this video is really here to sort of explain my decisions as to why I've put them there. Now, the defenders are going to make a lot of sense, so we'll start with them. Cards like Zantetsu, who is very primarily a defender. If you actually come in and have a look at his skills, we can actually jump in, and I will do this for a couple of the characters, so you get a rough idea as to why I've selected them. Zantetsu's skills, on over here, if you go to training, not training abilities, go to details, and then go into event cards, and we can actually come down and have a look at his rainbow skill, is primarily focused on defense. So you can see he's got shot block and shot deflection rate. So that's primarily what we're playing around. Another character that is primarily on the defense is, I say primarily, is very much on defense, is Igarashi, who also has really, really good shot stopping power. And the final one is going to be Jingo Raichi. Now, these three are going to be your defenders. These three are the only defense options at the moment in the game that are really, really solid. You could make an argument saying that the free Asagi is definitely one of the ones that can sort of fit in all roles. But realistically, these are your three. Now, where would I rank them per se on defense? I think if we were making it into a tier list, that's probably how I would rate it at the moment. I think long term, I really like Raichi, but we don't have a way of training him at the moment. And since we don't have a way of training him at the moment, in the sense that our support cards aren't good enough to get Raichi to the level he needs to be, these two are a little bit more trainable. And in fact, I'd say Zantetsu is probably the most trainable out of the two. But I'm going to say this is probably what you should be aiming for if you do want to build a team around this. That is probably okay. But listen, any one of those defenders are going to do you a really, really good job, whether you're free to play or pay to win. If you're pay to win, you're probably more likely to pull off the Igarashi. And maybe even you can think about looking into the Raichi. You might have a little bit to be able to pull that off. Now, moving into the midfield. Again, in no particular order, we're going to have Bashira. Love Bachida. I absolutely love him as a character in the anime, and I love him as a character in the game. He just provides so much in terms of support. He provides so much in game as well. Absolutely love him. Fantastic unit. Another unit that does exactly the same, Rio. Absolutely love this unit. But I love Rio as a support more than I love him in game. I mean, in game he's good too. Don't get me wrong, but his support stats are unreal. You almost always want to bring a friend 100 Rio. Of course, there are scenarios where you don't. Like, there are scenarios I bring the new Chigiri, there are scenarios I bring Baro, there are scenarios where I bring other characters, but I'll be honest, I've personally not been training my Rio much because I just value him so much as a friend that I don't have, like, picking something else to then train him just feels weird. The amount of black cards that appear when you put him in your team is just unreal. Alright, so the next midfielder is going to be Nico. Same reason, just a great midfielder in the game. Now, a lot of these guys are going to just be good midfielders in the game. I'm not going to go into why they're in the midfield too much, but they are in the midfield. They are midfielders. This is the old Chigiri. So the old Chigiri would sit in the midfield. Really, really solid. Mitoma is going to be sitting in the midfield as well. And then, of course, I'd probably say Free Asagi is a midfielder as well. So we can take Free Asagi into the midfield, and I think that's pretty good. Now, there is one controversial pick that I have, and that is, I like to say Rin is a midfielder. I think Rin's skill set really does fit a midfielder, although he is a very, very powerful forward as well. So it's really up to you where you put Rin in terms of midfield or forward. I mean, the same could be said around the new Chigiri as well, who is another unit I'm going to talk about, but you could have the new Chigiri in midfield, you could have him as a forward. A lot of people are going to say forward is the best role for him, and I think ultimately forward is the best role for him, which is why I'm going to leave him in forward, but Rin could very easily be up there as well. I'm going to leave Rin in the midfield, because that's just where I originally put him. Now, the new Chigiri, as I said, is a great forward card, especially if you can trigger the speedster stat. So if you have the new Chigiri in your team, you probably want to be on Team Zantetsu so that you can activate the speedster stat. Now later on there are going to be other characters, which I'm not going to talk about, these ones at the bottom here. These are available on JP and you will get access to them at some point. We won't talk about them today, but other characters will give you that speedster stat. So in the long term, say we don't want to use Chigiri, we can use someone else, or we don't want to use Zantetsu, we can use someone else to try and trigger that. But we'll go into that in a lot more detail later. Right, other strikers. Now, I'm going to start with actually one of my favourite strikers in the game, and that is going to be Nagi. I absolutely love Nagi as a character in the series, and I think he's just excellent in the game as well. I do love Nagi. Now, with the exception of Nagi, there's probably one other striker that is super standout, and again, this is both in the anime and in the game. I've just got to find his tile. There he is. It is Baro. I think Baro is one of the best strikers in the game. His skill set, just making him be able to shoot from anywhere on pretty much, and just scoring. He's just got such good shot range. Beautiful card, honestly. If you can train him with a ton of shot power, get him to like 20,000 shot power and just watch you just smash through games, he is unreal. Unreal. Right, next striker would be Kunigami. Kunigami is most definitely a striker. In saying that, I don't like him that much as a striker. So if I was personally going to be picking a strike force, I would probably go these two or Chigiri. Like, these three are probably my options. On my account, given that my bar is only level 55 and everyone else is like 70 something, I'd probably take these two, and I wouldn't go with Kunigami. I think Kunigami is an excellent support. I think if you get Kunigami, you're really, really happy because you have a card that can really train some really, really good cards. I think Kunigami has a lot of value there. Now, Striker Isagi is definitely a card. I might even put it slightly higher up than Kunigami, but Striker Isagi is definitely a really, really solid striker. He's not someone that I'm personally building, but is a very, very good striker. And the last forward that we are going to quickly touch on is Gagamaru. Now, Gagamaru is an interesting case because personally, I think this is the worst card, like, to actually play in your team. I originally thought he was a defender. Like, that's how poorly designed a forward he is, that I actually thought he was a defender. Because it just didn't make sense to me how he could be a forward. But he is a forward in the game. And in saying that, he's a terrible one. So, honestly, if you can use any one of these guys, go for it. Gagamaru just isn't the guy. Now, in saying that, Gagamaru's support card, absolutely different story. If we were to jump into Gagamaru, all his value comes from his actual training abilities. So coming over here, the stuff he provides, the special training rate up, physical boost, he's got stamina boost, which is really nice. If you can get him to 60, he's super, super nice when you're training other characters. Again, kicking boost here. I really like Gagamaru as a support, and I will be using him when I level him up a bit more. But as a sort of in-game character, he just isn't the guy. So, guys, that is my takeaway. This is all I'm going to say. This is why I've sort of put everyone here. As characters come out, I won't tell you what the next character is. The next character is one of the ones located below, though. So there is a little bit of a, I guess, slight spoiler for you. If you are interested in who the next character is, or don't know who the next character is, it's going to be one of the guys down here. In fact, slight spoiler, a lot of these characters are coming out soon. I say soon, probably over the next 2-3 months we'll have access to most of them. So if we just said 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, you know what, we've probably got like 4 or 5 months worth of characters there. So guys, enjoy that little nugget. Now these are in no particular order, so don't start guessing. You're not going to be able to guess that. But yes, that is the forwards, midfielder, defenders I would be using. In terms of if you do want them in slight order, I would probably say the midfield is the only one that I'm a bit struggling with in terms of placing in an order. I would probably go with this, and if you want a striker, I would probably do that. So if you want to use Rin as a striker, he'd probably sit there for me. If you want to use midfielder, I'd probably sit him there. So I'd probably say that is roughly the order I would personally value them at. Again, my account looks slightly different to your account, so this is how I would value them anyway. But yes, boys and girls, have a lovely rest of your day, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I will try and get some more content out for you guys soon. We are looking at doing some tier lists for supports. So when you're building teams, what cards to use, pre-level 80 and post-level 80 for more of you whales as well. We'll try and squeeze that into one video so that you guys can just pick this up and run with it. I hope you enjoy your day. Peace. Peace.